Hello, WPF viewers. Skippy here, coach of the Steel City Surge, back again for Week 7 of WPF Season 3 in the Delta Division. We are coming off of a string of 3 losses after a string of 3 wins, so this week's matchup against Rose and the Las Vegas Rotoms is a very big matchup for us. It can either turn the tide for our season for the second straight time, or it could kind of bury us because we are currently on the outside and looking in terms of the playoff race. And I don't know about you guys, I would like to make playoffs, so I kind of have to play a very good game this week. And in terms of the matchup that we have this week, it's a not so favorable one for us, but it can be favorable in terms of lead and matchup overall, just based on what is brought. So let's get into the matchup this week. As I said before, we're taking on Rose and the Las Vegas Rotoms. The team is consisting of Terra Necrozma. So a little bit of a heads up. After our match in Week 3 against Sable, they went ahead and dropped Terra Necrozma from the roster, and Rose ended up picking up Necrozma in place of Iron Boulder, who they originally had. So we have to face off against Terra Necrozma once again. They also have Cinderace, Zarude, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Tauros Paldea Aqua, Slowking, Bronzong, DNC, and Terra Rotom Frost. So, for this team, just a couple of key points that I just want to point out. Obviously, Terra Necrozma, again, got to deal with that thing once more. I'm not as scared of it this time, just based off of what we did with it the first time. There is still the opportunity we have to try to check it as best as possible. Going into the next point, we have some fast physical threats in Cinderace, Zarude, and Tauros. They all pose a very similar threat. I mean, Fire, Water, and Grass, all very offensive, all pretty fast. I mean, the only thing that we have that outspeeds all three of them is Darkrai. So I expect one of them potentially to be Scarf. And if so, we kind of have to take advantage of that. We have one or two checks to these mons, but we really have to make sure we start strong and don't let these guys get in for free and take out some of our big name threats and potential win cons. So we just got to keep an eye on those guys. And then we also have to be aware of Ursaluna Blood Moon and even Diancie. I was trying to think of another possible threat here, and Diancie kind of just stood out as a very bulky threat that can set up hazards and can threaten a good amount of the team with its Rock and Fairy type. Ursaluna Blood Moon, we've seen it before in previous leagues and such. It's kind of a menace when left unchecked. I think we have a check or two for it this week, so depending on the build that's brought, it should not be as impactful as it could be, but then again, this thing can be very impactful. The other mons that are not mentioned up here, Slowking, Bronzong, Rotom Frost, I expect to see maybe one or two. I don't expect to see all three of them, and I don't think they pose as much of an offensive threat. They're more so defensive or support-based. Maybe if Rotom Frost could do something, but I don't see it coming this week. Necrozma makes the most sense in this matchup. Let's go into the team that we actually have this week. We are bringing Darkrai back off of the bench this week after not bringing it last week. We're bringing a leftover set with a timid nature, max special attack as usual, enough speed to outspeed max speed Cinderace, and then the rest we're putting into HP just enough so that we can get the maximum amount of HP back per turn, and then the rest just throwing into defense to try to live a U-turn potentially from Libero Cinderace, even Zarude, or I try to not die to whatever move Tauros wants to try to go for, or potentially a physical Necrozma set. The moves we went with this week are Substitute, so that we can try to take advantage of our high speed stat if there is no Scarf on the other side of the field. That would be amazing setup turn. Don't have to take as much damage from a U-turn potentially, and we stay in on the switch in for what he wants to go into. And we also are running Dark Pulse for stab, Ice Beam for some coverage, and we're also running Charge Beam this week. I thought about running Nasty Plot with sub, but based on how mocks were going, it didn't seem to be that good of an idea, so Charge Beam allows us to get some coverage for Tauros, while also being a 70% chance to boost our special attack, which is very threatening, especially when your only check to that is Ursaluna Blood Moon, who doesn't necessarily like taking an Ice Beam or two, so Very nice little option there for us. We just have to kind of play around it. Going into our next mon this week, we are bringing Landorus Therian again. We are running a Terra Grass set with leftovers, with a Jolly Nature and enough speed to outspeed the majority of his team that's not named Tauros and such, because we only have 91 base speed. So the majority of his team is outsped by Landorus Therian at 299. And we're max special defense, mainly because we want to have an opportunity to check Deancey, Blood Moon specifically, since we are Terra Grass. Even have an opportunity to switch in on Slow King if we need to, or Bronzong. Even Necrozma, if we need to switch on Necrozma. This is a somewhat valid option, depending on the move, obviously. And we are going to be running a physical set with Swords Dance. As you can see, we don't have any attack investment, so Swords Dance is a way to try to increase our damage output. We're running Earthquake, Terra Blast, and U-Turn. Just trying to get as much stab and then pivoting if we need it. Hopefully this Landorus set can put in some work. It's going to be more of a support / breaker set. Try to chip down a bunch of mons if we can. If we can try to get this in on Zarude after a Terra, or if we could get this in on Tauros after a Terra or something like that, we could, with that -1 into physical attack, do massive damage potentially on a switch in, or get a free Swords Dance up or something. So that's the main idea with this Landorus set for this week. 4 HP gets us 20 HP back per turn, which is great, considering we have so much defense investment and then a lot of speed as well. So going from here, we are going to be bringing Garganackle as well, also with Terra Grass and leftovers. So this one is the main check to Blood Moon. Whenever we do get a Terra, we're gonna try to get Garganackle to be the Terra this week. Depending on the matchups and such, it might be Landorus that gets the Terra, but Garganackle is the main idea to Terra here, because it can switch in on the Blood Moon, and it's going to do massive damage with Terra Blast and Terra Grass. Salt Cure to get some chip on it. We got Recover for recovery, and then we have Stealth Rock for hazards. So pretty, I would say, a somewhat standard Garganackle set. We are running a Careful Nature with max special defense and enough HP that we can get a good amount of HP back, and then the rest is just into attack to just try to increase that damage output for this week. So as you can tell, I am pretty scared of that Blood Moon. I don't exactly have as many switch-ins to it as I would like, so I'm trying to take advantage of it as I can. Going from Garganackle, we are going to be bringing Wheezing again with a Rocky Helmet. This is going to be our main check to the physical threats from the other side, the Tauros, Cinderace, and Zarude. None of them really get anything that threatens Wheezing without sacrificing another move. So we can run max HP, max defense, a little bit in special attack with a Rocky Helmet and a Bold Nature with Levitate, so that way we can try to chip down those mons as much as possible, because they don't exactly get the best recovery, so we can try to take advantage of that with this Rocky Helmet. We are also going to be running Defog and Toxic, so that way we can get out, we can try to threaten any sort of setup mon or a very bulky Slow King, something like that. We're running Strange Steam for stab, and then Flamethrower, so that way we can threaten Zarude if it wants to stay in, or we can threaten like a Terra Steel Necrozma, something like that. So this is the main idea with Wheezing, is just to be the check for the physical bonds. Garganackle can do that to an extent, but we would rather see Wheezing doing that, just because it does have a very high physical defense, and it has the Rocky Helmet and a very good typing to resist pretty much all of the types that want to be thrown at us. Going into our next mon this week, we are bringing Rotom Wash again, with leftovers as well. This is the last leftover mon. Trust me with that, it is the last one that has leftovers. I just needed a lot of recovery this week, and didn't exactly feel like I had a lot of recovery options. But going into the build for Rotom this week, we're going to be running a Calm Nature and only 40 special attack. The reason we're running 40 special attack is because we're mainly planning to lead with Rotom, and first turn go for a Nasty Plot if we see Deancey lead. That will guarantee a Hydro Pump. Majority of the time will knock it out. with that 40 special attack. And Rotom at +2 is very little Hydro Pump switch-ins. It's like Tauros and Zarude, maybe Bronzong. 2 of those we can Volt Switch out on. Zarude, we're going to have to hard switch into Weezing, which is fine, though, because if we do happen to see rocks up from Deancey, we can defog right away and not have to worry about it. We're running 224 in Spadef, just so that way we can try to switch in on a Blood Moon, kind of like mid-game if we absolutely need to, if we don't have the Terra up on Garganacl or anything like that. We can use this as a switch in for Blood Moon because we can take a Blood Moon pretty well from a max special attack Blood Moon, and we also are immune to Earth Power and all that stuff. So we're also 180 in defense in case we need to come in on Cinderace or Tauros, more so Tauros than Cinderace because I would like to not get statused with this. And then 64 speed, so that way we can outspeed a fast Ursaluna Blood Moon. If it is max speed for whatever reason, we can outspeed it. So that's the main point for the speed investment. And then we're also running Thunderbolt for some Electric Stab, and like I said before, Nasty Plot to try to get to +2. So a good amount of setup this week, but not a ton where it's dedicated. So that's the main idea with it. Our last one is going to be coming off the bench for the first time. It is Skeledirge with Heavy Duty Boots and Unaware. Running a Calm Nature with max Special Bulk, some defense. This is the main check to Necrozma. If we can possibly get it either Toxic, or if we can get it burned with Will-O-Wisp. That is the main idea here. Torch Song and Hex for stab. Hex to take advantage of Toxic and Will-O-Wisp. And then Slack Off for recovery. Yeah, this is the main check to Necrozma here. If we, depending on the Terra, obviously. If we see like Terra Water, or Terra Ground, or Terra Dark or something like that, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But we can try to play around that. Played mainly against like Terra Water and Terra Fairy throughout mocks. And Terra Water gave me the most issues just because Skeledirge most likely is going to be the check to Necrozma, so that could be the bring. And if so, then Rotom kind of just deals with Necrozma more or less, depending on the build, obviously. But a +2 Rotom with Thunderbolt should be able to at least 2-shot Necrozma. So, yeah, that is the squad for Week 7. If you guys want to go ahead and check out Rose, the link to their channel is in the top right, as well as in the description with the other WPF coaches. So go ahead and check them out. They post some really great content. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get ready for the battle here in a little bit. I'll see you guys around then, and I'll see you in the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.